What's up, Polytopians? Got another replay commentary here for you today. This is an Illyrion versus Xin-Xi game that I played a few days ago. So over here, the Xin-Xi, I'm the Xin-Xi player. Illyrion here spawned at the top of the map, and yeah, I spawned down there, just below them. So we're quite close together. Looks like it's going to be a pretty intense game with a lot of fighting on both sides. I'm already. His warrior movement was a bit weird, so he wasn't able to find a city immediately. It was with his second warrior. There I am meeting him actually on the third turn, using those stars to get my level up. Not able to level up both cities, but that's fine. And yeah, my opponent resigned. Yeah, it was a good game. It was well fought on both sides, I would say. Yeah. Nah, of course I'm joking. Of course I'm joking. This isn't the game. For real this time. What's up, Polytopians? I've got a real replay commentary for you here today. This is Imperius versus Xin-Xi. I am once again playing Xin-Xi. My opponent is Imperius, spawned here at the top of the map. He's going to be leveling up his city on the first turn, as all turn 0 tribes do. It's pretty much the best opener you can do. So he's definitely playing a superior tribe to mine, but Xin-Xi is pretty underrated. Among the non-eco tribes, a lot of people consider them one of the worst in the game, and I don't really. Like, obviously their spawns are not reliable, but they can get some pretty insane forge spots, and their population is can be pretty good. They can get a fairly good amount of giants. Obviously they can't match Barter, but who can? So you shouldn't sleep on them. They're pretty good, as you will see in this match. I'm able to claim my third city. My opponent went for rider tech, which is always a good thing to pick up early to claim his. I was very fortunate to get 2 ruins. And okay, before this explorer, this has got to be the luckiest explorer of all time. Who would have ever thought in a million years that explorer over there would actually reveal my opponent to me, giving me a star boost? And I think that's what allowed me to level up 2 cities this time. That was got to be the most ridiculous explorer I've ever seen. Normally it's not a great reward to get if it ends up going in the corner, but that was insane. My opponent discovered the secret of whaling. That's not quite so lucky of an explorer. It's not really going to help him this early in the game. Neither of us can even see whales yet. I actually got normally getting an early swordsman if you don't spawn near each other isn't that great for a ruin. But not only is fighting likely going to happen in this middle area, but it also pushed my warrior closer to the city, so it actually sped up capturing that city by turn, which made it actually be quite a good reward to get from the ruin. Right, over here he's continuing to explore with his riders to make up for the obviously turn 0 tribes. Exploration is slightly behind because they don't build a second unit immediately, but you can use that money to buy riders to make up for that, although he might be making quite a few too many. I don't think he needs 3 of them to explore the fog, although to be fair I have made quite a few units. Well, no, I didn't make all of those units. I only made 3, I was just given a 4th. So, because thanks to the ruins and the stars I got from meeting him, my economy is doing pretty good so far. Managing to stay on par with him slightly. It might be due to the fact that he built too many riders, which is slowing down his economic growth. He went for chopping is not really very efficient anymore, but it can still be worth it. I mean, obviously if it allows you to get a bunch of city level ups quicker, you are sacrificing late game potential of those cities, but it can be worth it for the early game boost. Especially if it's if you calculate that city doesn't actually need a forest, then it's essentially a free star. Right, I'm going to buy some tech now, which will allow me to level up that city over there. Just realised how strange these Xin-Xi city names. Really quite something, huh? Poxipo, Boyo, Cha, and Bucha. An interesting bunch. Actually, I guess all of them are weird, because Imperius over here's city names are even weirder. But he's now uncovering another room. Yeah. He's got another city in the corner. I think I might have 1 more city than him in total once I capture these 2. And he's finally met me, so he now gets the stars as well. Obviously I got them much earlier due to that super lucky explorer. This is going to be a frontline city. A lot of fighting is going to be evolved around this one here. But of course, I'm continuing to be greedy and just level up rather than... I'm not even sure if I have rider tech yet. That is generally how I like to play. Try and be as greedy as possible. Ooh, yeah, my opponent researched mathematics before capturing our city. We all knew it was going to happen. Are we ever going to see a game with mathematics not involved? Perhaps one day. Right, yeah, so he moved forward with the low health warrior, sacrificing it for vision. That's a good move. I think it's quite useful. Although, he didn't send... he could have sent that warrior much earlier down this side. I would say it's always worth sending a warrior to explore the side paths. If they end up uncovering... It's a small investment. If they end up uncovering a city, then they pay for themselves many times over. He actually took expand borders rather than population. Obviously, that can sometimes allow you to get more giants out, but personally I prefer getting giants out faster, especially if you're already involved in early game fighting. But it's just a difference in preference. Obviously, he's a turn 0 tribe, so he's still going to get the giant out earlier than I am. There isn't really any way I would be able to match him. And over here, this is a good border growth. It is a coastal city, which is a better city to border growth. And as you can see, I was planning to expand the borders on this frontline city over here, but now he's cut off some of the potential tiles I could have taken. So that's a good move on his part. Right there, I'm sending my little warrior to explore the corner. I don't think there ends up being a village down there, but you never know. And if it turned out there was, it would have been worth it. Over here on this side there was, but obviously it was the explorer that uncovered that. I didn't have to scout it myself. He's sending 2 riders down to the side. That might be overkill for scouting, especially since it doesn't look like there's well, there could have been a possibility of another city there, who knows. So he's managed to claim his last 2 ones. He's a bit behind on leveling, I would say, for me. He prioritized getting a giant out in his capital, and now he's training up, obviously, those early catapults. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of them. Maybe I'm just a catapult hater, but I've not seen them accomplish a whole lot, and I see them very often, and I also find them extremely annoying. Right there, I think I'm going to... Over here I'm obviously taking population, trying to get cheaper and early giants. Obviously I wasn't aware of how many he had right now. I saw one there, I assumed he had more behind it on the way, so I was in a rush to get as many as I could out to defend that city. I think I did end up taking a border growth here. I think it was just because I saw him take border growth. I was like, maybe I should take border growth too. I want to get that border. Oh, the capital is a better. Capital and coastal cities are better targets for border growth. Capital because it has so much growth potential with roads. Coastal cities can get better customs houses for tiles to heal battleships in. So they have more uses for it than regular cities do. He's leveling a city, taking a workshop, and getting the other level off. I think he probably should have got those levels last turn, but I think he prioritized a giant. If he had taken population rather than border growth, he would have been able to level that city last turn and still get a giant. So I would have preferred to do that. So that he's able to finish off my injured veteran swordsman with 2 riders, which I would say is definitely worth it. And he's now moving his catapults closer, getting ready to start sieging my city. Oh, and of course got to level those cities. Yep, chop any spare forest. That's why forests are so great. You need an extra star, you can just chop a spare forest. It allows you to get a level up a ton sooner. Always worth it. And he's going to get a second giant out in his capital now. So I think I'm still ahead on the giant count. Oh, we're even now. But obviously Xin-Xi has actually got insane giant potential. Maybe I just got a lucky spawn here, but I'm going to be able to churn out quite a few giants this turn. Going up to a 3rd giant. Going to be making a 4th even. Taking population growth. I love population growth. It's just so sad. Giant pushing is just so satisfying. I think most people can agree with that. Obviously going to get another one out of my capital. I'm still not sure if that border growth is worth it. On the second thought, I probably should have just taken population there as well. So I'm actually able to get 5 giants out this turn. Well, no, 2 from the previous turn, a total of 5. But obviously now the catapult fire comes in. Oh, I was not aware of these units. I may have seen the one on the top city. I'm not sure if I had vision of that. But yeah, okay, this is a pretty scary push. Once I saw the catapult fire coming through the fog, I was pretty worried. I was assuming he had invested a lot in it and was heading here with a lot of giants. I could see 2, I was assuming he probably had 3 or 4 minimum. but he's investing a lot more in tech. Well, yes, well, really, if I had calculated more, he obviously couldn't have that many giants if he also went for port. He was also taking ports, which that's always great. You want to get battleships out early. You can win a game easily, but if you get control of the sea and prevent your opponent from doing so. Over here, he's probably going to be able to siege my city this turn using the catapults and giants. Obviously, I have enough units to take it back. Okay, see the expand borders there. Again, it's a coastal city, so I don't hate it. And also the fact that he gets a whale to make up for it. I thought he had bought the whaling tech when I saw that whale disappear, but obviously he got it from that ruin, so that's more worth it. Then it's essentially free. That makes up for. Well, I'm not sure if it makes up exactly for the free population. Depends what resources that city has when you expand its borders. But since it's coastal, I'll allow it. I think it was a good move. Yep, he's getting out a third giant now. I think he probably could have got out more giants. See, I think his main problem here is he's going for too many techs. He's going for giants and catapults, and then also boats. Maybe you could go for 2 of those, but I would not say 3. I don't think the catapults are necessary. Because I don't think they're a great offensive unit. I think riders and giants would have... If he had more giants, that would have been a better push. Giants are a superior unit for pushing than catapults. Giants on land, even then, they're not a great pushing unit. They have a high attack power and high health, but slow movement. Units with high movement speed are obviously the best units for pushing. Riders are pretty good. Even if their stats are quite low, they have a lot of movement, which makes up for it. Swordsmen are quite good defensively. They are honestly quite an underwhelming unit. I don't think a swordsman is particularly good. But since I already have the forge tech, I thought I might as well make use of them. Right there, he's going to be able to siege that city. Oh, and get a nice amount of vision. That's a good move there. He's making a lot of smart moves with his units. And finally sending a unit to explore the corner over there. Yep, okay, I'm going to be able to kill that scout unit. I mean, obviously it was suicidal. It was just there for vision. So it was still a good move. We're able to kill his giant, but it spreads a lot of damage out on my giants. But this just opened up the opportunity for me to damage a catapult. And I would say that there was a mistake. I think I should have sacrificed that rider for some more vision. Although, to be honest, it's not like I could actually reach those tiles yet, so yeah, pulling the rider back perhaps was the right move. This game was not played live. This was, I think we both had a 24-hour time. Although we did play most of it live, despite the fact that it was... I think we played it in like 2 sessions. Okay, I'm continuing to trade out some riders now. And, yeah, so his push, although he's like constantly able to like siege this city, I had more giants than him, and we're both trading giants off, but I had more giants than him to begin with. And these catapults are not helping. The 1 or 2 at the start helped, but he trained up to like 5 or 4 maybe. And those extra catapults that he's adding in are not generating nearly as much value. And then also going for battleships. Battleships are great. Getting battleships first is amazing. Obviously he's able to kill that boat, and so now he kind of has control of the water. And obviously that's great. But he turned a warrior into a battleship. A warrior battleship is not the same as a giant battleship, as you'll soon see. Oh yeah, and 5th catapult. Too many catapults. Too many. I choose to never use catapults because I just personally hate the unit. But 1 or 2, you can usually get good value out of. 5, not so much. 5 is overkill. You don't need 5 catapults in a situation like this. Okay, using the... Oh. I'm only just putting that monument down now. I think I could have put it down a while ago. Maybe I just didn't need it. Maybe I was just saving it for that city. I'm not sure. But able to get another super unit out. I think the killer monument... Oh no, the bazaar, Grand Bazaar. So I'll be able to get 2 more giants out. See, a giant in a ship. The battleship will obviously do a lot of damage to it, but it will still take some retaliate. And the retaliation damage a warrior battleship takes is really significant. It doesn't have... Its health pool is so low that it can't afford... It doesn't have the ability to fight multiple ships the way a giant does. If multiple boats engage a giant battleship, it kills all of them. The same is not true when multiple ships engage a warrior battleship. Although maybe I'm kind of letting these catapults get a little bit too much value. Those giants are a little bit too close, still taking a beating. Alright, he turns a second warrior into battleship. You see, they're both... Obviously, that was a ton of health to lose on a giant. That giant is effectively useless at this point. But... Okay, yeah, I was considered pushing his giant off, but then I decided I'd rather kill it first. Since I was able to. And, at this point I realized he'd invested in so much tech, he didn't have many giants. So I thought there would be value in killing them. Well, greater value in killing them. And then I am able to move forward into the fog. I obviously knew I was going to see at least one catapult in fishing range, considering how many shots had been coming through the fog. And yeah, these boats were actually able to kill a giant battleship. Well, a warrior battleship. I always say giant battleship because it's unusual to see any other unit turn into a battleship. And now he's only got one left. It's already injured, and there's two giants. I don't think I upgrade either of these. But the point is he can't damage both of them, and next turn one of them is becoming a giant battleship. And these catapults. Now that all his giants are dead and it's only catapults, you see, how can he push? He just can't. Catapults alone have no pushing power. These are ginormous waste of money. Ginormous waste of money. The tech was as well. He's made one sawmill. Okay, maybe two. Although that sawmill was also a waste because he could have just upgraded that. That would have been it's giving one population. That forest could have done the same thing. Actually, no, maybe he used this to expand borders and then he got access to the forest. So never mind. But I still think the tech was a waste. He's got a lot of... Yeah, he has the ability to step on mountains. He should have seen he had a lot of metal. Should have gone for that instead, honestly. Catapults are really a trap. They seem really powerful. They hit for a lot of damage, but honestly, the inability to move and attack and their low health pool is tragic. It's absolutely tragic. Oof. And as is continuing to upgrade warriors into battleships, their health pool is so low that a couple of regular boats are just able to take them out completely. Although he is finally going to get a giant out in that coastal city, so he'll soon be getting a giant. I bought the navigation tech, and then realized I didn't actually have enough stars to get a battleship out. Yeah, I was just off by one, and actually had no forest. This was really painful. Not a single forest was left without a lumber hut. So that's my bad. I should have been more careful. Obviously, there wasn't really any excuse, especially since this wasn't live. But I still played it like it was live for some reason. I was rushing through these turns. I know, for some reason, when my opponent plays fast, it makes me want to play fast as well, even though technically there is no time constraint on either of us. Yeah, I'm going to have to finish off this giant battleship with regular boats and severely injure the other one. Obviously, I'm being very wasteful with these giants, but the fact is, I just have more. I just need to get control of the sea. I have more of them. He's run dry on giants, apart from that one over there. Right, and then I'm just continuing to. I just need a bunch of fodder. I just need a bunch of warriors and regular boats to start chipping away at some of his. Because I know that there's no problem to do. Riders can easily zone away these catapults now. There's no way they can come anywhere near my city over here. Also, I wasn't sure because I hadn't been paying attention to this part of the map. I didn't know if there was a warrior in a boat like waiting to hop on that city. So I trained a little warrior there just in case. Obviously, there wasn't, but I didn't know that because I wasn't paying attention. Well, yeah, I'm not sure about that move. Obviously, that unit was effectively useless at that point, so maybe just... But here is his biggest mistake of the match. Definitely the biggest mistake of the match. Right, after he moves these catapults, obviously, I think he moved them a little bit too far forward here. He gets customs houses. Customs houses are a late game tech, or something you buy when you're on continents or on an island map. You're trapped on a few cities. They're a way to boost your stars return. You do not buy them when you're fighting, and you've already invested in so much tech. That tech was practically his entire turn's worth of income. That giant needs to be a battleship. It needs to be, else it's just going to die. If that giant was a battleship, it would have been hard for me to engage it. But it just wasn't. And because it just wasn't, I was able to get my own battleships in there. and just batter it before it even has a chance to defend itself. He lost the battle in the sea on this turn, and it was entirely preventable. Right, instead of finishing off that, I chose to siege his city instead. That was just a bit of greed. I actually forgot that doesn't actually cut the custom house income off, so I'm not cutting off as much income as I thought I was. So maybe it would have been better to, yeah, looking back on it, it probably would have been better to focus down the giant. But I think both of these moves are fine. The fact is, that giant, even if he turns it into a battleship now, it's already too weak to fight these other giant battleships. So the war for this water area over here has already been lost. And there isn't really a war on the other side yet. Okay, Ovi, I think at this point he realizes this has been lost. Oh, perhaps he hasn't. Yeah, that was a complete waste. That's 20. He invested 20 stars into turning that giant into a battleship to take out a boat with a warrior in it. That kills 7 stars of value on my side for 20 of his. And that's actually, if anything, it's actually given extra value. These battleships would have just sat around doing nothing otherwise. He's given them something to do now. Yeah, on the other side, I think he's trying to enter the water here. He's realised the war is lost on that side, trying to front switch to this side. But that port is in a bad spot. It's because of the customs house he put it there. But again, he shouldn't have customs house in the first place. The port should have been further back, right? I'm not able to hit it with a warrior. Also, these catapults, far too vulnerable. Every time a catapult gets hit, it's effectively useless now. 8 stars down the drain. The rider doesn't even die. It doesn't even take retaliation damage. It's way too much value I'm getting every time that happens. Over here, I'm able to finish off his battleships. And also I've got vision of the catapults. Finishing off his catapults as well. I saw a way to... I ended up turning a warrior. I know I reprimanded him for doing the same thing, but over here I saw a way to actually siege a city this turn using it. It's a lot of stars to invest, but to speed up the capturing of that city and effectively completely shut down this front, I'd definitely say it's worth it. That's a really critical city for him. Right, over here, I'm not really sure what's going on with that warrior over there. Well, it is kind of useless, so it's just trying to hide. These catapults should not be fighting alone at the front line. And they were overwhelmed with targets here. I think he should have really just retreated with them. It doesn't matter if they shot a couple of things, because they'll still die in one hit now. Right, I ended up discovering... I don't know why I upgraded that just to finish that boat off. I guess I just didn't want him to have a presence in the water. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, okay, I'm able to capture a city. I would say the game is pretty much over this turn. And it was really... Because I consider myself a greedy player, but... Because his unit movement was good. His unit composition was... It was fine up until he built too many catapults. If he had just built 2, his unit composition would have been fine. It's okay to just build a couple of catapults. Even if I'm not a fan of them. The customs houses. Do not build customs houses if you're already fighting. On a map this small, every star counts. Do not invest that much money. They never paid himself up. In fact, his first customs house, I actually got it. I don't even have the tech for it, and I'm still able to get these extra stars. It was basically a gift. There's no way the tech must have cost him almost 20 stars. And plus the cost of the extra ports and the customs house itself, insanely expensive. And there's no way they got even close to paying themselves off. Absolutely not worth it. It was definitely a ginormous mistake, which is a shame because apart from the strange, his army composition was good, his unit movement was good. Going for early battleships, that was good. Those were all really good moves. If it wasn't for the customs houses and if he had gone more for giants, less for catapults, his push probably would have succeeded. This game probably would have turned out in a very different direction. It would have went in. So it is quite a shame because he played really well. Oh, and yeah, I think at this point he's just memeing. Obviously, the game is effectively over now, but he ends up buying a diplomacy tech, so we are actually going to see a cloak in this game. I would end the replay here, but we're going to see cloaks and knights at this point. We're both just memeing around at this point, but it's not every day you get to see cloaks and knights in a game. So yeah, I mean, despite knights being a good unit, it's just really hard to reach the tech. Okay, there's actually a little mistake. Obviously, it doesn't matter at this point, but that's a mistake. I actually did the fact that I hit with the full health battleship first, the 10 health warrior one. I did too much damage to that rider. Too much damage to the defender, and the warrior wasn't able to get the last hit and move on to the city. So that's actually a mistake. It doesn't matter at this point because I've already won, but I mean, that is still a mistake. That's something I should have done differently. A mistake is still a mistake, even if it doesn't matter. So it's worth pointing that out. Yeah, okay, and I'm getting ready to go for knights. And okay, and there it is. Here he's just trying to stall while he gets out the legendary cloak. I don't see people use cloaks in multiplayer. I'm not sure if they're good. I assume they're not, because it's just such an odd tech path to go down. It's the same with knights. The unit might be great. The unit might be great just like the knight is, but the tech path is so out of the way. It's such a large amount of stars to invest in something that's... in most games, you'd probably die before you got value out of that unit. That's why riders are so good. Riders are such a cheap tech to buy. They're so powerful. Such a versatile unit. And oh, this is unfortunate for him. I actually ended up getting that vision of the cloak before he even got to send it in. Just a bit unfortunate. But okay, yeah, okay, this is taking a while. I'm just okay, but there they are. Nice. So he actually ends up still getting value. I know I had vision as cloak, but he does end up getting it through anyway, which is funny. All his hopes and dreams rest on this one cloak over here, right? The rest of it doesn't matter. This is all about the journey of this one cloak right now. And look, this is actually really funny. Look, he was actually really smart with... He put 2 roads down there, so I assumed that it ended up there. I don't know why. Obviously, it doesn't need that road to move. But for some reason, I assumed the cloak was standing there. So he actually did, this was actually quite a smart play, like all the way at the end of the game. So I ended up like moving my right in there. I was like, I was really confused. I was like, where is it? Is it standing on the mountain? So it didn't occur to me that the cloak could have been in that corner. Obviously, he's got a catapult over there. I'm going to be able to siege his capital this turn, so the game is obviously going to end next turn. But yeah, this it's such a funny play with this cloak over here. Who cares about what these other... Nah, nobody cares about what these other units are doing. Cloak is the only thing I'm mad at. You know what, let's just skip through this. Let's skip through it. Yeah, they're all moving. Oh yeah, I started building some parks at the end, obviously, because they don't need the giants. We're just doing all kinds of nonsense now. But like, what the heck? I did not know the cloak could... I actually didn't know this. The cloak can move through other units. I had no idea that was possible. And so he ends up sieging the city. Well, the city is too low level to actually produce a sizable amount of cloaks. And the game ends by HQ cap anyway. Well, oh, this isn't advanced walls, this isn't HQ cap. This is sieging the capital. You guys should play Advanced Wars Beware, by the way. It is pretty fun. But okay, yeah, so this game's gonna end this turn. I was able to... Obviously, it was over quite a while ago. We were just messing around these last few turns. But this was... Because this was a well-fought game from both sides. It was... Really came down to just those few key mistakes which ended up costing him the match. Customs... Do not buy too many techs. You really need to, like... Your game plan needs to be focused in Polytopia. The ports, you cannot go for battleships and customs houses. There's just no way you can afford both. If he had continued his plan of going for battleships, less money in catapults, more money in giants, giant battleships. Giant battleships, they go together so well. Giant battleships are the most powerful thing in this game. So he was almost on the right track, and if he had followed through with that plan, he definitely would have won. Yeah. And obviously, the catapults, that pressure with that city... If you're going to go for like customs houses, if you're going to go for like this defensive play, like try and take up the customs houses and win the late game, then you don't push in, because he pushed in to my city, but at the same time he was not spending his money to help with the push, so the push ends up failing. Yeah, so at the end of the day, as long as you have a plan and you focus everything on that plan, it usually works. Well, obviously, if the plan is dumb, like if the plan is go all in on cloaks, that's not going to work, but really, you either win by the sea, you either win by a land push, you try and win the late game, you could go... I think... I'm not sure if you could just go to a customs house. If your opponent has more cities, they'll probably still win, even if you have customs houses. But overall, yeah, it was a good game. Peace out, Polytopia. Wait, wrong side. Wrong side. Peace. Peace out, Polytopians.